know what we need today. We need some Top That Trade with Phil Flynn of Fox Business Network News contributor and Alan Knuckman, the Chief Market Strategist at BullseyeOption.com. Ready to go. A few rounds for our trader game. Round number 1, stimulus contagion. In a rare move, China is giving cash handouts to low-income residents. How can this help low-priced China stocks?
You've seen BABA come roaring back, and there's a China play, obviously, in America as well, in the fact that, copper is, China-centric, and also oil. But oil hasn't reflected that just yet. So, there's always the objective of any nation, any market to make it more positive, and I think we're seeing that right now.
I think a lot of the big hedge funds were wondering, whether China was going to stimulate the economy. And most of them were saying it's about time, right?
Right.
They've been behind the curve for some period of time. Now the hedge funds are celebrating this. We're seeing a big surge in stocks in the Chinese stock market. We're seeing that big surge in copper that everybody wrote off. And it's something we talked about, I think, just last week about the explosive nature of this market.
Round 2, dollar dip. The dollar index is down this week. How would you play commodities, to the upside or to the downside?
I mean, when you look at the dip in the dollar, that's what the Fed has wanted, right? Because the Fed has started a rate cutting cycle and a lower dollar. But, that turns out to be a great thing, not only for commodity traders, but for U.S. manufacturers, exporters. The grain market has actually acted positive to the rate cut because our exports are now more attractive on the world market. So when the dollar goes down, it's good for the farmers, and it may be good for you too.
Dollar down is stimulus. It's stimulative, I guess, if that's a word, if we can come up with that. But it tested 100. It went below it for just one day, and then it bounced back. So let's see what happens on the next extensive move. But the dollar down, the VIX down, interest rates down, these are all positive in the big picture.
Round 3, recording records. Records are made to be broken. What high watermark in stocks or commodities are you watching now? Let's hear some calls.
Well, it's harder to trade. You look at something like Meta that's gone from 100 to nearly 600. We've had some extreme moves, and they'll be giving profit taking at any time. But, I think the records that will be made eventually will be in GDX. Look at the gold miners. They have the gold. They own the gold. And gold is at all-time highs, but the miners are still 30% off. And silver, even if you're looking at silver is nowhere close to the all-time highs of $50. And if you adjust that for inflation, silver has to get to $70. So I think those records are made to be broken.
I agree with Alan, and this is something we've been talking about. I think many shows ago, I'm pretty sure we mentioned on this show that we had a target on gold of $3,000 an ounce. People said we were crazy. We said that silver was extremely undervalued compared to the price of gold. People said we were crazy, but now we're starting to see that come to fruition. And I always have a problem. You have these long-term targets like gold's going to 3,000, and then you get close. It's like maybe I should have said 4,000.
Well, crazy is relative, but we may be crazy, but we're not. We've been doing this a long time, so there's some truth to our craziness, that we have some objectives, and I use limited risk options so that I sleep well at night. And the gold play has already kind of produced, but I still think there's so much more that we can see more records.
For your bonus round question for today, what flavor is Coca-Cola phasing out? Coke Spiced, Coke Zero, or Original Coke?
I think it's Coke Spiced because that doesn't sound good. Coca-Cola Classic, you can't get rid of that. They tried that once. It didn't work out well.
What's your answer, Alan?
Oh, I know it's Coke Spiced, and the Coke chart still looks amazing.
Coke Spiced is the correct answer. Great job, guys. Business First AM pops back after this. Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.